Hi everyone. So we started a YouTube channel to start sharing some of our impressions of the wines we've been drinking lately. I'm Dexter.
I'm Lindsay.
So we've been starting to get into wine lately. Last couple of years, started attending some more tastings, sharing our thoughts with whoever will kind of listen to us when we run into them at tastings in the wine shops, as well as Instagram and Vivino and that sort of thing. And we thought, why not make a YouTube channel to share some of our impressions and maybe get some exposure for some of our preferred local vineyards and some of the interesting wines we've come across.
So we're going to open up some wine right now, and we're going to pour it into our glasses here. This is the O Series by Riedel. It's Cabernet and Merlot stemless beer. So I got this for my birthday from my sister-in-law. Thank you very much, Amy. I love them. So we're going to use these.
So we're going to get a bit into our glasses of each wine. I'm going to try not to spill too much over our fairly recently acquired placemats. And then we're going to kind of get some first impressions from them and put some rest into the two decanters. And then we'll have our supper, which she's working on.
Mm-hmm. So I'm making dinner while we leave these to sort of decant, and I'm making a calamari pasta in a red tomato sauce. And we're going to have some quiche and some garlic bread, so we're hungry, and that sounds delicious.
Yeah. So after we let them sit in the decanter for, say, about a half an hour, we're going to kind of taste them again. But we can kind of do some first impressions right now to see how they are fresh out of the bottle, which I think is kind of important, because if you go to like a tasting or you're around non-wine geeky people, they are like, oh, I'm not going to let you pour that wine out and let it sit in the decanter for an hour before I can taste it. They just want to open it up and drink it right away. So we can kind of get our first impressions now.
We poured these ones already.
This is their
This is our foam box red.
And buried red over here. So
Perfect. I'll take this one.
Don't get them mixed up.
I won't.
Keep that one over here.
Oh, no, I got it. Quite dark. It has quite a dark plummy color to it.
Both of them are.
Yeah.
What do you smell?
Well, which one do you have right now?
We're both on the foam box red.
Okay, perfect. Just making sure we're on the same page. I get definitely like a spicy note.
Mm-hmm. You kind of pick up like a little spiciness, kind of like a pepper, as well as some cherries.
Yeah, I get like a dark cherry sort of note. I'm gonna have another sip here.
There's not a lot of tannins as this wine.
No. I do still get that pepperiness on the palate, which I like in a red.
I read recently that as these are like kind of hybrid grapes, the winemakers try to avoid having too much of the tannins because they don't express as well as some of the vinifera grapes. So it's compared to some of your other say like wines with the vinifera grapes, it's more of a watery mouthfeel than some of these wines we have with the kind of like silky or velvety or mouth gripping tannins.
I'm not a huge tannin person. Like, I don't like a big punch in the face of tannins. So this is a nice medium sort of wine for me, tannin-wise.
So,
All right, let's switch it up.
switch here. I get some first impressions of the berry red.
Quite a different note on this one. I don't get any pepperiness on this one.
Pick up more of like a woody, kind of musty kind of nose. Reminds me of kind of like an old book or something in a basement.
Which sounds really strange, but not in the wine world.
Well, maybe to actual sommeliers. It's not like we're experts or anything yet.
I still get like a fruity note. I can't quite put my nose on it.
I'd say the fruit note on the nose, and as opposed to like the cherry, a very kind of clear cherry for me on the foam box red, and this might be more of a plum in the berried red. It's,
I'd agree with that.
Kind of a darker fruit.
Mm-hmm. Definitely more tannins in this one, in my opinion. I get more tannins.
I don't really pick up on them as much. Still kind of has a watery mouthfeel to me. But we don't always agree on our perceptions of what we're drinking. And also, our preferences vary, so a lot of times we usually kind of rate our wines and keep a little wine journal of stuff we drank, and a lot of times something that she'll rate is like an 8, I might give a 6, or stuff that I really like. She'll
usually lower, it's like a 4.
Yeah, we usually vary in our scores out of 10 by about 2 points. Very rarely can we find something we really agree on. So,
in my defense, I'm much more of the white wine connoisseur and lover, like a Chardonnay or Pinot Grigio Sauvignon Blanc, and Dex really likes the reds. So we differ.
I like whites as well, but I prefer Pinot Gris or Pinot Grigio and oaky Chardonnays for sure when it comes to white wines. And then I would just like a variety of red wines as long as they're not kind of herbaceous. I think on the palate, this berried red, at first impressions, like these wines haven't had any time to really open up other than what you've been watching here. So I think that mustiness comes across on the palate as well, and it is a little bit herbaceous. So I don't know, do you get that at all?
I get a little bit of the herbaceousness. Do you pick up like a little bit of chocolate? I get like a little bit of chocolate on there. I love chocolate. I like to think I know my chocolate.
I'd say maybe
a bit of dark chocolate.
Yeah, like a very, very dark chocolate, like something like a 90% or something. That the stuff that I like and she doesn't. She wants to eat like milk chocolate or like super low
dark
percentages. But I like a 90%.
Well, you want a 90, and I want like a 75.
Yeah. So like I can kind of pick up on a bit of that bitterness that I would associate with those kind of stronger blends of dark chocolate that I like, that she usually doesn't like, but that is a note you like in the wine. It's kind of like similar to the dark chocolate note you might get in a coffee as well, like a dark roast coffee.
Now, which one do you enjoy better so far? I don't know. I need to try them again.
Don't get them mixed up.
No, this is a fun box.
Drinking them back to back, I think I like the foam box red better. It's a little more brighter and fruitier, kind of like a Pinot Noir. Whereas I'm kind of getting more like a Cabernet Sauvignon kind of impression from the berried red, with its kind of like darker, mustier flavors. So right now, my first impression, I'm liking the foam box red better.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think I'm liking the foam box red more. I like that you said it was bright. It is brighter. If you're not someone that's huge red wine lover, I would definitely suggest the foam box red. Trying that one out because
so maybe a little bit more accessible, but then again, these are first impressions.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the wines will open up a lot more. We'll probably give them about a half an hour, eat some food, and then come back and see how they've done in the decanters.
So we've just had a very lovely dinner, and we've decanted the wines, and so now we're trying them, see if we can see any differences between when we initially tried them. And what do you think?
It's been about 50 minutes, an hour that they've been in the decanters. My impressions with the meal, Berry Red was a lot better pairing with our spicy kind of calamari pasta we were eating, where I found the foam box red was kind of it's sweeter and more acidic, and I found it was kind of a weird kind of clash with the food we were eating. So just sipping on both of them as we were eating, I found that the Berry Red was a little better pairing.
I like the foam box red a little more. That's to say, the berry red, it's not bad by any means, and we don't typically do a lot of wine and food pairings. We just usually have the wine. So we just thought we'd branch out a bit tonight, and so one was obviously a little more compatible than the other, but my choice is still the foam box red. It's not as tannic. I found that even when the berry red sat out a little longer and it decanted, it got even more tannic, which is something I'm not into big tannins.
Yeah, I felt a little bit more mouthfeel after it's been in the decanter for a bit, for the berried red, that is. And I can kind of get, it's more full-bodied, I find, on the nose. There's more of that kind of black fruit coming through. And I don't really pick up as much on that mustiness that I was originally picking up on. You mentioned, you said like kind of a herbaceous note. You she said mint earlier when she was talking about something that she kind of picked up on the berry red. So there is still a bit of that greenness, which I'm not really a fan of. But I find with the foam box red, seems like it's kind of dulled down a little bit. Something I don't think I'd bother decanting.
Yeah, I didn't find much difference from when it was poured out of the bottle to when it was decanted. I agree, it's a little less strong, sort of, in its flavors. But so yeah, if you're gonna try it out of the bottle, decanted, whatever you prefer.
Do you want to talk about the vineyard at all? I've never been to Luckett Vineyard.
I have been to Luckett Vineyards, and it's a really beautiful spot. They have a beautiful vineyard there. They do great lunch. I was there for lunch, and I had seafood chowder, and it was delicious. And they have a nice little tasting room there. And it's a really nice spot. And there's actually a phone booth there. It's called Foam Box Red, and you can make a free call to anywhere in North America. So if you got a call to make, check out Luckett's Vineyard and walk to the middle of the vineyard and get in the phone booth. A little tidbit.
I don't know if I'd go there to make a phone call or not, but
something you could do.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to visiting them for the first time this spring. We'll probably go there when they open up again. I guess just mention the executive winemaker at Luckett Vineyards right now is a Mike Main guy. As I said, I've never been there, I haven't met the guy, but I think he's making some of the better reds in Nova Scotia. From what I understand, as we're kind of a cool, moist, wet, I guess, climate, it's a little harder to grow reds, especially the vinifera varieties here.
All in all, though, they're pretty good Nova Scotian red wines, and if you haven't tried many Nova Scotian red wines, I'd suggest maybe trying one of these ones. But no, it's exciting to see what's coming out of Nova Scotia and Nova Scotia wines.
Yeah, I would say Foam Box Red is a pretty good representation of Nova Scotia reds, and from there, of course, there's lots of different vineyards and lots of different reds from the different vineyards as they're blending. Like these are both blend wines, and you can get some of just one variety. So yeah.
Final rating out of 10?
For me, I'd rate them both the same. 6 out of 10. They weren't bad, and I'd say they're slightly above average out of the wines that we've experienced so far. I think for me, like I was saying earlier, Buried Red, if I'm going to be having a meal, I think it's kind of that more full-bodied, kind of mellow taste. Goes well with while you're eating. Whereas the Foam Box Red, a little more sweeter, a little more acidic. I didn't like it. I felt it kind of clashed with our spicy food a bit. But I think it's a way better casual drinker. Well, not way better, but it's slightly better for casual drinking. Just open out of the bottle. It's great out of the bottle. Sit around your living room with your friends and not worried about food pairing. Just looking for a wine to drink. For me, even though I rate them the same at a 6 out of 10, Foam Box Red would probably be the one I would go with the most because we really don't bother much with food pairing.
I would say Foam Box Red, my rating is a 7 out of 10. And for the Buried Red, I would say 5.5 out of 10. I like the Foam Box Red a little bit more.
And what was the difference in the tastes? That
for me, it's a tannin thing. And sort of that herbaceousness. I like kind of the chocolate notes in the Buried Red, but that tannins and sort of herbaceous quality to it, sort of, it's overpowering for me. And whereas this one, the Foam Box Red is a little brighter and a little lighter on the tannins. And so yeah, that was my choice.
Yeah. You generally prefer a sweeter,
I do.
fruitier wine anyways. So
Yeah.
I think that's not really that surprising. So that's our impressions. This is our first video, so it's kind of rough.
Bear with us.
We don't make scripts or anything. We just talk and
Jibber jabber.
Yeah. So anyways, maybe there'll be more. Maybe this will be a failed attempt, but
we had fun.
Yeah.
All
Have a
right.
good night.